Now time for the 7 things you'll be talking about today. Number 7.
A report out of NBC News says that the big, beautiful bill is facing fierce Democratic opposition over Medicaid cuts. Yes, those cuts argue that people will be kicked off of their health care because they'll have to go to work in order to keep it or do community service. This apparently is the big fight here that we're supposed to be looking at, and which I do not understand. But cutting the deficit by requiring people to work in order to get government benefits sounds like a good idea. It's an 80-20 issue when you explain that able-bodied young men are getting Medicaid when they could be doing community service or work. But Democrats insist that they should be allowed to get this because taking it away from them means people will die. People will die, everyone. Okay. All right.
Number 6.
A GAO report has criticized the Biden administration for their decision to keep Space Command in Colorado. Well, really, that's not even the true story, because they decided to move Space Command from where it was originally allotted, which would be Huntsville, Alabama, Redstone Arsenal, to Colorado Springs, Colorado. They allege there's some bias against Huntsville. I think there was political bias. That's what I would argue is probably the real story here. And the effect of the plan they put in place would cost the federal government $500 million. $500 million. Okay, now we have yet another report that shows this. Make the damn move. Make the announcement. What are we doing here? Decide that it's coming here, move it, and let's get this show on the road. Man, government just crawls along.
Number 5.
Yasmin Othman. You guys may remember that name. I know I did when I first saw it because I remember going, because if you remember her name, she was a employee of a refugee resettlement company, which is a thing. I didn't know that. But the way she came into my line of sight is she was running around ripping her company for daring to help in the resettlement of South African refugees. And she was ripping her company in the paper. Not the paper, AL.com. Sports blog with a liberal bias. Anyway, they were out there ripping their own company. And I said, when we were talking about that story before, if I was this company, I'd fire her. Not only is she being racist, she's ripping the company publicly. Well, guess what they did? Guess what they did? They fired her. I hope she's eligible for Medicaid. I hope she's eligible for Medicaid, you stupid, idiot, racist. Way to go.
Number 4.
Former United States Senator Doug Jones, our former cowardly caretaker junior senator in an ill-fitting suit who looks like he just woke up, stole his shoes from a homeless person, loves crushing ice cream sandwiches, and owes his job, former job, to Richard Shelby. Yeah, that guy is supposed to be the savior of the Democratic Party. Okay. Wannabe candidate Dakari Lorette now claims a Democrat can win because Roy Moore lost to Doug Jones. Well, do you know why they lost? Do you know? Well, because they slandered Roy Moore. You guys know Roy Moore won like an $8.2 million lawsuit in a defamation case, right? Over all of this? Do you guys remember that? They defamed him, and that's how they won. Doug Jones didn't win because he was awesome or anything. He won because he wasn't Roy Moore. That's it. That's the sole reason. Stop pretending this was some glorious thing.
Number 3.
And to go to show you how stupid this is, to go to show you how silly this whole narrative is, AL.com knows that their Democrats are in trouble. So they went to their out-of-touch audience to find terrible suggestions for people who might run for governor. That's right. Yeah, that's right. They want to have someone run for governor against Governor-elect coach United States Senator Tommy Tuberville. And their takes are as follows. A pathetically fragile meteorologist known as James Spann. Oh, don't say Gulf of America in my presence. It hurts my feelings. Or Charles Barkley, who has pretended he's been running for governor for 20 years. Neither of those guys are coming to save you either. And the fact that you're even doing this is hilarious. You think James Spann has the cojones to stand on a debate stage and get criticized? You saw him melt down into a puddle of suspenders and tears, right?
Number 2.
Alabama Attorney General Steve Marshall is entering the fray, not for the governor's race, but for the race for United States Senator. And I'm not really surprised by this. This has been someone who has been running, I think, for higher office for quite some time, and that's not a criticism. He's been doing that by providing the Attorney General services that the state loves on issues like immigration and transgender surgery for minors. Steve Marshall's either in the courtroom or on Capitol Hill talking about those issues and fighting for those issues. That's what he's doing. So it's a no-brainer here that he would take a shot at the United States Senate. So it should be interesting. Is he the front runner? I think so, right now. I mean, yeah, Barry Moore might jump in. That might be what we see. Dale Strong says he's out. I've ruled myself out. Okay, unless Donald Trump wants to endorse me, maybe I'll get back in. But I'm out. I'm out.
Now, time for the number one thing you'll be talking about today.
Trade war! Trade war! Trade war! We're back on! The trade war is back on! Get ready! Get ready! Get ready! We are going hard, and we are going to war. So, a federal appeals judge has said, yes, you can, in fact, have a trade war, Donald Trump. They have halted a ruling blocking President Donald Trump's Liberation Day tariffs, which, of course, as I've said before, so the trade war is back on. We are going to get probably a Supreme Court ruling that says maybe you can do this, maybe you can't, maybe you can, maybe you can't, who knows? But the Supreme Court may or may not step in and save him. So you have a pause in the ruling, which means the trade war is back on as they continue to have all their appeals and things like this. This could change day to day. But I'll also remind you, Donald Trump's tariffs can change day to day as well. I mean, that might be something that you might want to think about. Like maybe you can hurry up and make those deals. Apparently the deal with China has stalled a little bit, but they already got what they wanted out of that, I believe. A little bit of a bump so far. And then the pause here, I think, is another thing that obviously helped the markets as well. I don't think people are taking the trade war seriously anymore. I think the trade war is pretty much over at this point. But Mr. President, this is an unwinnable war. You bring our boys home from the trade war. You have to do that. I don't know where this is right now, but I do know this. Trump can level tariffs at this point in time. It will go before higher courts, and then we'll have other conversations about it. But as of right now, the trade war is back on. War were declared, and we are in the middle of a trade war. So congratulations to everyone. Donald Trump gets to continue to be the commander-in-chief of the trade war. Some judges say, but we should be president too. So they've decided that. There was also another ruling against Donald Trump yesterday. That ruling was that Harvard cannot be told they can't admit a bunch of people from China and other countries to come over here and talk bad about America, root against Israel, and basically be terrible people. You must let all these terrible people in, which is generally the position of the American government, that the more terrible you are, the more likely you are to be able to come into this country. So congratulations to those people, and congratulations to Harvard for getting a win there. But that will, of course, go before higher courts as well. So that is happening too. Let's take a quick time out. We'll continue right here on WVNN, and we'll continue talking. You continue listening. We'll be right back.
Get WVNN's Dale Jackson's 7 Things You Should Be Talking About Today right in your email box every morning. Go to yellowhammernews.com and sign up today.